Recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
All right, welcome to the Patriot Hour for Monday, September 16th, 2019. If you're new to the channel, folks, thanks for stopping by. Possibly you're on your way into work this morning. Back to the grind. If you're the typical Monday through Friday, you're back. All right, we got tons of things we're going to go over here this morning with some laundry, some headlines, things that might take place. We know that right now there's a peak talk with some of the Democrats wanting to buy back guns that they never bought or sold you in the first place. We'll get into that. It was a great weekend. Friday night I was on the American Joe show. How awesome. We're going to start reaching out, having more people on here if we can, and going on other shows. It's a great opportunity to sit back and I don't have to actually run anything. How awesome. All right, we got Ben with us, so we're going to get him on. Again, I want to say morning to all the mods and Patriots that are with us. I see Simone in the room. I think I saw Grillin. Yes. So awesome to all of you. Top of the morning. All right, let's bring Ben in.
Good morning, Patriots.
What is going on, Patriots? How is
everybody? Knocking off this Monday.
Getting up. It's, what did I say? Patriots Monday morning live and jive while you drive.
Live and jive. Shucking and jiving.
A disco jive talk.
Disco jive. Oh, yeah. What up, Patty Blythe? All you guys in there. Bill Pennington, Amy, Marcia, Margaret Dell. What up, Grillin? Mike DeSoto. Oh, what's up, man? You guys are awesome. No, I even got the big cup of coffee for this morning.
Ooh.
Been hitting it hard. Hitting it hard.
Gotta hit it hard. So I wanted to ask, what do they typically call it if you were, going to a court case and maybe you kind of knew maybe the judge or something? It was your neighbor. You guys kind of know each other. Wouldn't they typically toss that out? And for what reason would that be tossed out then?
They call it, it's a conflict of interest, where there is a knowingly biased individual who be adjudicating over the public affairs being brought forth publicly. This has happened many times. This happens at civil level of courts, districts, supreme, superior, you name it. This conflict of interest is almost a ubiquitous term that lawyers, attorneys, councilmen, councilwomen, whatever. This is something
the judge argue that he won't be biased and that he can control that. I mean, and even though maybe some people could, but why don't they?
And the judge or the adjudicator has the right to basically deny. However, he can't or she can't on its own volition stand there by, I know there's got to be a panel of other people, kind of like a special counsel to look into, is there collusion of neighbors, like a hypothetically two neighbors, one's a judge, one's a complainant or whatever.
I can only think back to something recently, and I think it was like a low level cop or somebody at the head of the department, and he was being accused, but he was in that position, and he's like, well, we're going to look into it fully, and it's kind of like, no, we don't want you looking into this. Yeah, you need to be separated. And so there you go. Like what Ben said, that's exactly, what I was looking for. I knew he didn't know that answer. I didn't know if you guys did, but that's all across our judicial system. And especially, in my own personal case, I've been on a jury. I've seen, and I was actually a jury backup. I wasn't going to be able to participate. And then on day one of this several week case, somebody vanished, and we go back into the room for deliberation, and one guy is gone. We're like, what happened to juror number 8? And they're like, oh, he's gone. He knew it was like either the defendant, one of the people that were, there. So it was like, there you go. You can't have a jury member being friends with the person possibly being accused, and then it's kind of like, oh, don't worry, buddy. You were good.
And we've seen this play out in our movies or TV shows. How many times have we seen like a cop show, and the detective, it's his family gets brutally murdered, and he's like, goes to the chief, this is my case, this is my family. The chief's like, hey, you're too close to the case, man. There's a conflict of interest. You're probably going to go overboard with everybody. You got personal. We've seen it. They step them aside. There's another person that handles it, and the guy's or the woman's freaking out because I'm a detective, I'm a cop.
It's not wrong for you to
human nature.
For there to be a judge sitting in place, lawyers, defendants, people that are the juror members. If at any point any of that's known, it's not wrong. Like, oh, you just need to let it be known, and then you're removed. That way they can get somebody in there. That's the bigger thing. It's not like we need to like, well, what is the relationship, judge, with this? It's minimal. I won't, for somebody to be vowing, if we already know there's a connection, to be staying in, that would be more worrisome, because it's just like, look, you just don't get to preside over this case. Maybe in the next one, you're back to doing whatever you do. So somebody, if they have a connection, shouldn't be vowing either, a jury member, a lawyer, the judge, because that would be kind of just automatically somebody else can do the job. All right. You just, for some reason, you got too close of ties. We as people on the outside don't want to see that. We want to see
we the people,
non-biased.
we want unbiased, unbiased judgment. And that's why we say, well, the law is black and white. Well, yeah, but if somebody interprets that, and the problem is, and they have a bias, and they show favoritism to the defendant, the complainant, whoever, that's where you have corruption. And then, of course, that one bad apple can soil the whole basket of cases that individual had been presided over for years and years and years and years. And it's a delicate thing to play when you're talking about conflict of interest, because even at a micro level, how many times do we have conflict of interest in our own private lives when it comes to people we know, relationships and friends? Do we want to divulge all the information to your friend, or will that tear down your friendship? This happens all around on a micro and macro level.
Yeah.
And
so I brought this up, this whole reason, and we're not going to realm in the talkings around it. It's because the DOJ releases part of the Mueller conflict of interest waiver that he put in. So we known this, all right, this whole time with Robert Mueller being appointed special counsel, folks. We have heard these, he's connected to Rosenstein or the Clintons over here. And it's funny how these same people got to look at Hillary's email server, and we know there was all these crimes because they named them off. They just decided not to prosecute, where they went on a 2-year witch hunt looking for crimes. After the end of 2 years, they didn't find anything. They're still pushing to just charge things for made-up crimes, or they're making up crimes to charge them with. So it's really odd when you look at the conflicts of interest involved in all of that. And here we go. And it's like, these people, I trust them enough. It's like, we really don't know them. And we expect this not to happen on a very local level when you go to court. In your own life at the local level. So we don't want this happening at the highest levels. That's even more worrisome, because sometimes bigger things happen up there, folks. So we'll look at this article a little bit here.
You don't want someone with experience. They have too much conflict of interest. You want greenhorns in there with all those no conflict of interest.
All right, go ahead and read a couple.
DOJ releases part of Mueller's conflict. The Justice Department is offering more insight into how it addressed potential conflict of interest when former FBI Director Robert Mueller was appointed special counsel for the Trump-Russia investigation more than 2 years ago. But officials are continuing to keep key parts of their internal ethics analysis secret. A memo obtained Friday by the pro-transparency organization, Property of the People, shows that the top Justice Department ethics officials concluded Mueller's sterling reputation and lengthy history of federal service meant it was unlikely any reasonable person would doubt his independence.
Yeah. So the head of the DOJ ethics office, Cynthia, what is it?
Cynthia?
Yeah, Cynthia Shaw suggested doubts were unlikely. That arguably turned out to be in poor prediction because President Trump, some of his attorneys, and many of his allies made sustained efforts to paint Mueller as a hack carrying out a vendetta against Trump on behalf of the Democrats. I am not convinced that an authoritarian is needed, but unequivocally, if one is overwhelming need of the government for Mr. Mueller's services greatly outweighs that concern, that a reasonable person may question the integrity of the department's programs and operations, like it is kind of labeled like you never should.
Yeah.
Shaw wrote in May 18th of 2017 a memo to Associate Deputy Attorney General Scott Schools. I am not certain that a reasonable person in possession of the relevant facts would question him impartially. So the key and perhaps only ethics issue addressed in the memo is whether Mueller's work as a partner at the law firm William Hale created a potential conflict because a Wilmer client was involved in the investigation. So that's interesting. Go ahead and pick that up.
Conflict of interest. Shaw doesn't mention the client's name, but it appears to be former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort. We've talked extensively about this guy, who was represented by Wilmer partner Ronald Regional Brown before switching attorneys a couple months before. Wow. Mueller has switching attorneys a couple months before his indictment in October 2017. Mueller has not represented the current firm client who may have some involvement in the investigation and has no confidential information pertaining to the client, Shaw wrote. Well, so he just says, we don't have any information. But Wilmer Hale also did legal work for the president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, and her husband, Jared Kushner, primarily on compliance with federal ethics and financial disclosure laws. Whoa. The law firm connection was just one of several purported Mueller conflicts Trump complained about to aides and advisors in the spring of 2017. According to Mueller's final report, the report said Trump raised such complaints with then senior advisor Steve Bannon, then White House counsel Don McGahn, and then Chief of Staff Reince Priebus. All three men told Mueller's team that they pushed back on or raised requests to act on the alleged conflicts. Bannon called the claims ridiculous, while McGahn viewed them as silly and not real. The issue of alleged conflicts triggered a major falling out between Trump and McGahn, as well as a dispute over whether Trump instructed McGahn to have Mueller fire on that basis. And that's what he's been pretty much been saying the whole time. He's like, oh, he fired me. He didn't like me. He didn't know what I was doing. But check this out. It's like that was the mainstream. But we know even for the fact that's interesting. That same attorney's office represented Ivanka and Jared. That right there is a huge conflict of interest, and it was over Ethics and Financial Disclosure Act. We've heard about that with the Deutsche Bank.
Yes.
The Trumps are getting ready to sue the Deutsche Bank for releasing information that was privately recorded, and this same attorney's office, who's already trying to dig in deep and look at their investigation, is now doing like their dad, our commander in chief. Now, I'm not. So
there's also
a lawyer.
A dispute over whether Trump instructed McGahn to have Mueller fired on that basis alone of everything you just read. So in June of 2017. One of Trump's personal lawyers called Mueller's office to complain about the alleged conflicts, including Mueller's work for William Hale. According to the special counsel report, around the same time Around that same time, close Trump friend Chris Rudy gave an interview to PBS NewsHour decrying real conflicts of interest for Mueller and specifically mentioning Mueller's status at the law firm. Yet just weeks before the public and private tempest over the issue, the DOJ ethics official concluded there would be no reasonable resistance to Mueller on the grounds of his impartiality. So that's interesting. Mr. Mueller has served as FBI for 12 years, Shaw wrote.
12 years.
He served the last 2 years of his tenure after Congress passed a statute specifically authorizing him to serve 2 years beyond the statutory term for the FBI directors. Wow, he's doing such great work.
Wow, he was such a good puppeteer.
He served as Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division. He served U.S. Attorney for Northern District of California. He's been appointed to positions of responsibility by both presidents of both political parties. He has a long-standing reputation for integrity. So, most judges in your local state have been in the system for 30 years. It's but they still don't allow them to have that.
Well, also, hasn't early on in Trump's presidency, he was talking about the Northern District of the U.S. Attorney, the whole area of California, because they're going to go give it up to the that 9th District, I think that's what it was.
Well,
and they'll shoot it down. So, I mean, it's
some
interesting
people
that he served on there.
Might think they aren't being biased, but that's why we don't let them decide that. Like, trust me, in no way, shape, or form, I left my bias at the door. And we just don't, you don't know that because you could become, I mean, look at Comey. He likes to think, well, I'm sorry if you guys all heard it that way. And there's like 450 people in the room. Like, no, we all saw you kind of choke that person out. Well, that's not. And he'd sit there and describe something else. And that's where you get that little bit of narcissism of I can control my being and I know when I'm doing this and you guys are wrong.
Talk to the masses.
That's scary business, folks. We don't want that. That own, I will investigate myself to the fullest and give you guys what, and it's like, well, I've come to the conclusion that I'm not guilty. I seem to have, you can just sit there, we don't want that. So Trump's been right. Like, so if we were talking about in Garage Talk with the hurricane, they were blasting Trump for the poor administration's response to hurricane over in Puerto Rico a few years ago. And now we're finding out these people for FEMA and these top people were taking bribes and doing things to make them look
crimes
bad.
Committed, bribery. There was, there was pilfering of their governmental coffers.
There was some kind of scheme going on. Unbelievable. So you can only, and that's the other thing, folks. Like Trump and the probably most of the sitting Republicans, we know that we would have got the health care passed, but there was one final hour person that screwed it all up. Who was that? No Name, I believe. Right at the last minute, he's acting like, I'm with it. He was acting like he was all for it. He never told any of them. Oh. Like you're supposed to argue with your constituents before you get there that day to be like, no, I don't agree on this. But he was acting fine. He never said something he didn't like. He just knew that he wasn't going to go for it. He hated Trump that much. Mm-hmm. He was part of this other thing. So I think it's funny. Well, isn't it funny that you can have every single almost Democrat vote no, and then everyone's like, see, Trump didn't get done one of the things he promised you, Ben. And it's like, yeah, because you guys weren't willing to work at all. Well, it doesn't matter. Hey. Besides the point, you guys had the first 2 years while you were in to get things passed and done. And it's the same with, the last administration. They could have confiscated guns after they had control. Obama, when he first came in, had House and Senate, and they had full realm. They didn't really go around just imposing millions of things that they could have. But
that's a war that I don't think they really truly want to approach on.
No, they got to get the will
not there yet.
Or the conscience of the
will
people
of the people
involved.
Yes.
That's why there are games to the rule, folks. It would be too chaotic. I don't think we're there yet, or I hope that's not really their plan of it. So, so we got this Freedom of Information Act. Here, go ahead and we'll finish this little article up because it's actually pretty good on.
Let's see here. Disclosure still. Right here. The disclosure of the memo is belated, coming more than 2 years after Mueller's appointed and about 5 months after he closed up shop. Still, is it something of a breakthrough because the Justice Department often seeks to withhold the rationale of ethic waivers? by separating the bare bones waiver from the underlying paperwork, which is typically treated as a recommendation exempt from disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act. However, the final two paragraphs of Shah's memo are still almost entirely redacted as relating to the DOJ's deliberative process. Jeffrey Light, an attorney for the property of the people, so the group might press further for those still secret passages for an ongoing FOIA lawsuit. This case is still live, and my client is still considering how to protect, told Politico.
Or how to proceed. So he's looking at how to move
proceed,
forward.
Yeah. Move order, how to proceed, what to do. Man.
Oh, Ted Cruz warning to fellow Republicans, your Second Amendment stance could lead to Elizabeth Warren as president. Ooh, so what should we do? Just change our stance?
We should just change it or make a stand with some Second Amendment arms. Let's see. This is an ongoing thing. We know this is if Republicans give up their stance on the Second Amendment, the Democrats will for sure get their ways. They argue this. What does this say? He argued the proposal first introduced in 2013 with Senator Chuck Grassley, which the two introduced while it doesn't enact universal background checks, the legislation aims to strengthen the current system by prosecuting those with a criminal history who lie on background check forms and criminalizing straw purchases. So again, people, we already have laws on the book. In fact, very harsh laws. You go in there and you buy a firearm under your pretenses and you give it to a criminal, you're talking federal big time charges happen. And that's if nothing happens. They catch you as a straw man purchase, is what they call it. You go in, try to buy a gun legally, and you're a felon, you're whatever, you're illegal, anything, and you can't buy it. We already have very high laws on the books. In fact, the laws currently on the books are infringing on our Second Amendment. I shouldn't get taxed when I buy ammunition. There shouldn't be a background check on ammunition. The background check on firearms, I understand that, but there shouldn't be a tax on firearms. Like is there a tax on food? Well, it's interesting. So there's a few things I disagree with. However, I know our government's not perfect, and it's hopefully becoming better and better as each year goes on with this awesome commander-in-chief. But the reality is if you're not supposed to have a firearm, you're not going to have one. Unless you're a criminal and you obtain it in a criminal manner, you break multiple laws just by holding it. So we need to ban this and ban that. It's like you talking crazy. That's that jive talk. All that disco coming out your jowls.
Yeah. So they are... Yeah. So, however, the Second Amendment voters are different than average Republican voters. Nothing comes above our gun rights, and I wouldn't be surprised if many choose not to vote for Warren or whomever the Dems nominee shall be. So they are saying, even when you look at the left, the voters on the left, that they impose this extra, they don't quite make sense. They're for this, they're for that, but when it comes to the literal taking back, they lose almost every one of them. They're all like, no, you don't think you should be taking anything away. So they don't even agree with that crap. But you think that this would be the thing to push them over. Well, the other choice is Trump. I guess I better just vote for Warren or Biden or...
Well, and I also want to direct on the same thing about the Second Amendment. Like you said, they say on this platform, they are deceiving you because let's take it one step further. Remember... Mike and I and the team here at the Patriot Hour, we are constitutionalist. If you don't know what that means, you've heard it for the first time, praise God, go look it up and do a copious amount of research. And in our Constitution, the states have more power than the government. We can agree on that, right? So how many states have the right to bear arms in their own personal constitution? Because we know every state has its own constitution. We know that. It's an almost parallel with the original Constitution. And even in the original Constitution, it says no laws shall be passed that contradict this piece of paper. It need to be in parallel, in concert, right? And so just a real quick search says that 44 U.S. states include the right to bear arms in their state constitution, some for self-defense and defense of the state. The oldest of the provision dates to 1776 in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Virginia. Though all three have since been revised, the right remains in place. So, I mean, you're talking 44 states of the 50 have something in their constitution that further secures our right to bear arms.
Yeah.
Now, I suggest go to your own state, look up your own state constitution and see what laws that you're abiding under, what state constitution you're abiding under. So I find it interesting that some of these same congressmen, senators, mostly congressmen in the House, are telling you we're going to do this, and they're from a state where they're literally talking against their own constitution of that state.
Yeah.
And technically, they should be held in contempt by the state for preaching and doing exactly opposite of what their state constitution dictates them to do.
And that's what we talked about, like even on the federal platform, you can't incite people when you're in position of political power and you're supposed to be upholding the laws of the land and the Constitution. That's your oath, and then you're speaking directly against it, coming up with these crazy ideas, lies, exciting. That's all sedition. That's all forms of treason almost.
Yes.
So what, and the whole gun thing, just to kind of wrap that up for today, we're going to move on to this other article. I would say this too. Isn't it funny when you look at these issues around the country, like we know, okay, there's violence with things happen with guns, but they're picking at this certain thing that it's not even one of the top statistics. You know, it's like most people get shot with a handgun. So they're doing this whole false thing to come after these guns that they call mass destruction, weapons of war, all these horrible names around them. And they're gonna take them. You know, if you just imagine this world where they do, and they're gone, and then these idiots, nothing's gonna get better. It's still gonna be going on, and it's like, well, so we need to come back and take these. Now they're going to be taking the handguns, and it just doesn't make sense, and nobody wants to listen to that. We got more people die in the bathrooms, like slipping and falling into tubs. Are we going to start registering tubs? It's a serious issue, but they don't care to hear about the facts. People die in cars. People do this. There's people, knives. Do they really care about the death or what, Ben? I mean, what is your take on all that?
Yeah, no, I just think, again,
why did they just land in some weird spot, like boom, right here? Yeah, because that's what they want or something. They
propaganda, it's brainwashing. They're telling you English words that don't make sense. An assault cup, an assault pencil, an assault thumb. I mean, geez, they're putting the word assault on anything, inanimate objects. It's lesser magic. It's a bunch of these wizards telling you and trying to deceive your brain to make you buy what they want you to buy. Run that rat race wheel like they tell you. Mike and I tell you all the time, it's a piece of the propaganda. It's not the whole thing. Music, it's the news. It can go on and on and on. We just like to put a highlight on some of this stuff to give you some real truths to kind of blast through that. And again, the Second Amendment is close to our heart, but I mean, not beating a dead horse here. Come and take them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. So on Friday, to move on here, the Justice Department, Inspector General. So the DOJ watchdog submits draft report on the alleged FISA abuses to Barr. So we're finally getting
now we're
some
getting
of
up
that.
to date on Barrs.
So the Justice Department Inspector General told lawmakers on Friday his team is nearly finished with its long-awaited review of alleged surveillance abuses by the DOJ and the FBI during the Russia investigation, saying they have submitted a draft to Attorney General Bill Barr, and are finalizing the report ahead of its public release, We have now begun the process of finalizing our report by providing a draft of factual findings to the Department of the FBI for classification, determination, and marking. Michael Horowitz wrote on Friday to a letter to the several House and Senate committees. This step is consistent with our process for reports such as this one that involved classified material. You go ahead and read that there, Ben.
Barr has received a draft report of the Horowitz from Horowitz, and it will begin the process and review it, or according to the source familiar with the situation. The Inspector General said his team has reviewed over 1 million records and conducted over 100 interviews, including several of the witnesses who only recently agreed to be interviewed. So there's maybe some more light coming out here.
Some of those Horowitz 11th hour.
That's
why we had the delay, folks. That's why this is supposed to be out, late June or something.
Yes, exactly. So Horowitz and his investigators have probed how infamous an anti-Trump dossier compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele, who used to secure the original Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant for former Trump aide Carter Page in October 2016, as well as for 3 renewals. Like it's 3 renewals. Come on now. Horace's team has questioned why the FBI considered Steele a credible source and why the Bureau seemed to use news reports to bolster Steele's credibility. And we knew this guy was like this, he's a former spy, but I'm going to turn better. And let's go here a couple times. The first FISA didn't go through, and then it went through, and then let's just keep on looking, and it expired. And let's keep on going and going. Jeez. In his letter Friday, Horowitz indicated that once the Justice Department and the FBI sent back a marked document relating to classified material, his team will proceed with our usual process for preparing final draft, public, and classified reports, and ensuring the appropriate reviews occur for accuracy and comment purposes. So we've seen this before. It needs to go through some security checks to make sure that anything released is not going to damage or hinder any ongoing investigations. I know you guys hate us saying that all the time, but there's so many investigations that are ongoing. That's the process.
See, everyone wanted them to come in and Trump to be slamming people up against the wall and arresting him very self with his own set of handcuffs. But that just can't happen. There is a process, folks. There is a process.
What up, Woodman? He's up in the old chat.
Woody Wood.
Woodman. But, I mean, it is. And you know what? This is a process we need because we don't want just one person saying, because we've already had one person who was a classifier, in fact, a couple of them who were classifiers, and says, well, I don't deem that classified. And at the time, wasn't it retroactive classified? Well, that
Isn't
was somebody else.
Chance you take, even in old Christopher Anderson Cooper's things, isn't that a chance you take when you're like, I'm going to leak something? Well, I right there, I'm going to have to stop you because we don't see eye to eye on what a leak is. Wasn't that anything, what you're only... You
may say leaky faucet, but I say dissemination of information to my close individual
I think
persons.
That would be worse. Like, typically, all the classifiers should never take a gamble. Basically, that's what it should have been asked. Like, you were gambling. You took some stuff. You looked at them like, I don't think any of these are classified. I'm going to go ahead and release one to my buddy. And then after the fact, they come through 6 months later like, nope, we marked that classified. Well, you guys did it after I released it. Now you're trying to just make me look bad. And it's like, no, this needed to be classified. And he's got to argue that. Again, a panel of lots of people, active FBI agents, that you're fired for lying. He doesn't think he lied. He doesn't think he leaked. He doesn't think anything. Think about that. That's very, very self-promoting.
A little bit narcissistic. A real narcy,
Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, no, we saw it on TV. You got fired by the president of the United States. Nah, that's how you see it. And,
you didn't fire me. I quit.
It's just, we had a conflict of interest over, what we saw eye to eye on. And these people slammed people for lying. This is what they do for a living. That's, You know, it's if you're in the FBI, you're allowed to lie, and you should just get fired. This is what the media is screaming for. You know, he should be, you know, what the other guy got. And we know, like, these people are first in charge of the FBI, second in command, third. If those people are lying, the top three, you don't hold them accountable to the, you know, guy that just got in, year one, rookie FBI agent that comes in, you know, drunk or gets a DUI, and he's going to be reprimanded or let go. Or these people in the FBI, if you get caught stealing at a store, just like a teenager, do you think there should be equal punishment for both? It's like, well, my 14-year-old son just got caught last week at Walgreens, sir, and you guys just gave him a warning. Why can't I get one? It's like, you're a 38-year-old man in the FBI. We kind of hold you to a little bit more of a standard there.
Higher
right?
standard, buddy. You have way more training than my 14-year-old, and that you both understand that that's wrong. Don't do that. But we're going to slap your wrist a lot harder.
Yeah. We ain't got time to play these games, people. And it's got to stop. We really need to move forward here.
Hey, haters be hating.
I think the one guy we found that, like, the kind of the things that the FBI was hiding was, like, the one guy, you know, a mid-level agent went over to the annex because they're allowed to shop there, you know, the old Marine base or something, and got caught stealing there.
PX or the annex or whatever, you know, and he stole some, or maybe he put a few liquor bottles on the old, you know, cash card from the office. I mean, you know, well, he still broke the law. Well, it shines a light on the moral aspect of this thing. Morally, is this what you got this guy going to do? And you want to give him control of maybe our country's budget? You think he's going to be going to other country stores and maybe pilfering their refrigerators and coffers? Yeah. Man, it's crazy.
Now,
It's
Kavanaugh,
funny.
we were talking about Kavanaugh too, weren't we? He's got a new little...
Oh, Garage Talk. He's got a new accusation or accusator going out at him. I mean, we were saving Garage Talk. If you're going to come at somebody, kind of like, wouldn't you come at him when he's on the mainstream news? He's going through it with that ballsy lady. And his pictures everywhere. And like, if this man has touched you, kind of like what they do with Epstein, and like a whole trove of calls came in. I remember that was there. Nobody called in for Kavanaugh. Remember, it was it was controlled opposition, and we broke that down. A few videos. On
I mean,
one.
it came down to that lady's words, and then named off all these people, and none of them recounted any of that. So it was like only her. So real big when it came out. That's what they wanted. But then as facts come out and the evidence doesn't prove, everyone gets real quiet. There's not as much bombshell hypeness on the lie. Jesse Smollett, we saw that in that old, or Juicy Smollett or whatever.
Well, it's Juicy Smelly Legs, but we basically know that what he's trying to portray is just more falsehood.
It was huge when it came out. Everyone in
Yes.
Hollywood was like, "Oh, we got to stand together," you know. But the story didn't add up. You know, this guy at 3 a.m, leaving, -16-degree weather. Right away is confronted by 2 white men, red hats, with, you know, and they just say no. And everyone was ready to back him when it came out that it was all a lie. And I was like, leave the guy alone. And nobody wants that truth. And it's still ongoing. He's getting exactly what he deserves. Let's put it that way.
You know, you can't remember that light will always destroy darkness all the time. Truth is so easy to speak because you don't have to. It's effortless. It really is. Truth is effortless. Lie is work.
Yep.
I mean,
when I say that, you know, like, I believe there's things that happen for real and things that are going on that aren't real. And people are like, what do you mean by that? And I was like, well, when these things happen, just like that Juicy Smollett, I mean, that story there is there's things that really happened and things that didn't. And when I mean by didn't was his narrative. It was this happened and these guys attacked me. It's like, it all looked that way, but it was orchestrated. So therefore, it wasn't really happening the way that they're telling you, is because just like in his world of living, it was an act. It was propagated. It was planned.
Yeah, it's like, we're not going to deny the fact that 2 guys kind of maybe beat up on you a little bit.
There you go. And because that's what you wanted them to do. Yeah, that's a big difference. When we talk about things like, you know, 9/11 or something. It's like, no, we never try to take away that. In false flags, people die.
Things happen. Yes.
That happens. Real things happen. It's almost
Buildings
like
fell.
90% of it is what they
Yes.
is there. It's just that, like we said, nowadays with this channel or any channel, you're connected, you're worldwide. When something hits the news, we can come on here and be like, hey, Jeffrey Fowler, man, you live in, here, right? Yeah, South Carolina, man. And you're like, did a rogue wave really come in and wipe out half of Charleston? And you're like, yes. And it's like, okay,
I'm seeing it right here. Yes, my aunt lived right there on the harbor. Now she's at my house. I'm like, okay, yeah. I trust you. I'm hearing you. I know you're on the show. You've commented in.
So
yes,
that's a way to verify. But was it man-made? Was it a weapon of weather? These are the things. And then they'll blame. Yeah, it was a weapon of weather, but Russia did it to us. And it's like, oh my gosh. And we know people died. We know these places are wiped out and flooded. It seems so true, but somehow they orchestrated it.
We can go who, what, when, where, and why when it comes to a murder, and they're like, well, we're not denying the fact that there was a murder. Like, yes, but what is the motivation? We got to have motive, right? Doesn't every investigator want motive? And so, what if? Okay, like you said, 9/11, everything happened. Buildings fell, one of them miraculously. There's all these things. Okay, so miracles happen. I agree, right? Now, the difference is if you found out your own government did that versus some guy in a cave on a dialysis machine, whatever. So just that little bit of information about what really happened literally changed the whole way you view not only the event, the people. Literally your worldview, your cognitive dissonance is shattered in a millisecond. And that's the difference versus going on and thinking that, yeah, it was some dude in a cave, some, thousands of miles away, and then a bunch of dudes with box cutters somehow box cut their way to take over it doesn't fit. So if you understand that little tiny part that maybe the deep state did it to their own government, to you, to we the people, shouldn't that inflame you more? Or shouldn't I say no? Now they're trying to take the guns and this, and then they're going this agenda. And if you put it all together, you can see, okay, it's very clear. They think we're a bunch of dumb sheep, and they're trying to cull the herd, trying to get the population down. Those who are starting to see a little more.
I just in my research, like I said, going from 9/11 backwards, folks. I've gone, 9/11 to Oklahoma to, Waco to Ruby Ridge and the 93 World Trade Center bombing that blew out, 6 or 7 columns in the basement of the same ones that got attacked again on September 11th.
The World Trade Center, I think it was
every
building 4.
Every time there's a common denominator, there's an FBI guy inside. And there's weird things that happen, and they did a lot of covering up. Around. For like Oklahoma City, why did they release the tape pretty immediately to try to get people to shut up with the Ryder truck being pulled up right in front of the Alpha Pi Murrah building, and then they show McVeigh get out, and then that's it. It was like a 30-second edited. They actually show a clip of another hotel that showed the from inside their lobby, people are walking around. They show the Ryder truck drive by through the glass and all that, so you see it. It's almost there. This building's located 5 blocks away from where he's parking.
Track them driving through security
they show
cameras.
You selective edited black and white security footage, and then they show McVeigh get out, and then they edit it, and then they show, I don't know if they ever show the truck blow up. Not, you're not going to see anything else because that truck takes up quite a bit, and they might have edited everything around it out. But now 11 years later, they release FOIA, this great documentary that was made in 2011 or 2012, 15, 20 years later. They got the footage, and at this point, we know McVeigh worked for the CIA. That's been confirmed through court documents released that he was a spook, never truly got out, sheep dip type thing, or whatever. Worked for them, but stayed in the Army for paycheck-wise. Weird stuff, folks. And they released this video of another guy getting out 5 minutes after McVeigh. So it was like the guy knew, like, let McVeigh get out, walk away, give it plenty of time for them to release some footage. And even if people are like, well, wow, 5 minutes has gone by, then they edited it out, and then this guy gets out. the second guy in the truck gets out, and then he comes back in, and then he comes back out again, and then the thing blows up. So maybe he did the triggering. It was all. I mean, it's just too much. It's like, well, let's ask him.
Triggering has been around for a very long time,
and for somebody to be that naive 11 years later to find that out for the first time, like, why didn't they release this right away? That should be your main concern. Not like, well, let's talk to that guy, see what his story is. Well, if McVeigh lit it, why didn't that guy put it out? You don't really, come on. This guy's been able to walk free. This is the FBI agent that catered to and was put around this possibly, person that he was guiding into doing every single bit of this. And then, he walks away scot-free, moves on to the next case. Same thing with the 93 bombing.
Under national security, and so they can put that blanket over it and tuck them away to bed for the next mission that needs to be taken out.
The Ruby Ridge, that guy there, an FBI guy that was prodding that guy, sell me a salt off, man, and
come on, hurry up,
and then literally put the saw in his hand and was helping him saw right there. Yeah, that's good. Now let me buy it. Come on, let me buy it. And then it's just weird stuff. They don't stop nothing. Seems like things happen anyway, and the FBI. So we got to put a stop to that crap too. It's got to stop. We're not saying it's everybody. It's this little facets, rank and file. Never. It's always I don't know, these little rogue groups that have been able to operate black op causes, cleanup crews come in, take paperwork, plant bombs, control the narrative, direct the people. It's got to stop, folks.
And most people lap it up like it's the best thing ever in the world, not realizing that every mission that is done on domestic soil is a complete and utter violation of our constitutional rights, and we're just doing it every single day. And except for a select few that aren't screaming it out from the rooftops, nobody's saying anything about the infringement. We all talk about the Second Amendment, the First Amendment. There's a lot of amendments that was made to the Constitution to clearly state what the Constitution stated, private property, these kind of things, and it's just amazing how really corrupt our government and all of its little factions. Like, they can't collect your personal information. Yeah, but they can contract a third-party company to collect everything to how many times you clip your toenails. And they can buy that with your money that you give them.
Yeah.
They're buying your information. You see the loophole in that, where it's all, like Mike said, it needs to stop. And I'm praying for, in 2020 and continuing, a whole governmental reconstruction along with the Fed. Because, this is transparency key to ongoing freedom.
What's this headline?
Alleged victim of Brett Kavanaugh does not recall incident. I do not recall. Is she doing the Clinton jive, shuck and jive? An alleged victim of a previously unreported claim of sexual misconduct by Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh does not actually recall the incident, according to the same authors who published the claim on Sunday. The New York Times' Robin Perriban and Kate Kelly reported Saturday in an article that appears in the Sunday print edition, which is the Sunday print, the big daddy of their tree cutting experiment there. We also uncovered a previously unreported story, I wonder how they uncovered it, about Mr. Kavanaugh in his freshman year that echoes Miss Ramirez's allegation. A classmate, Max Steyer, saw Mr. Kavanaugh with his pants down in a different drunken dorm party where friends pushed his penis into his hand in front of a female student. Dr. Steyer, who runs a nonprofit organization in Washington, notified senators at the FBI about this account. But the FBI did not investigate, and Mr. Steyer has declined to discuss it publicly. We are collaborating the story with two officials who have communicated with Mr. Steyer. So,
hold on, read that again. Read that right there. I don't even get that.
Yeah. So at a
where friends pushed his penis into the hand of a female student. How did the friends push his penis
in the hand of a female? was it an assault penis, and they were trying to grab hold of it because it was going crazy, and somehow she was trying to hold it down, and she happened to get it, and they forced it in her hand. So think about just that at a different drunken dorm party. Now, the first drunken dorm party when he was accused by Ballsy Ford, it actually turned out not even to be a dorm or drunken party. It was a get together, and I mean even then was kind of weird, but even that, where friends, see. You can see even the allegation. She doesn't recall the incident, but yet they're allegating a bunch of friends grabbed his penis and shoved it in her hand. It's like,
they didn't mention them pushing him. They just pushed his penis around, and it's like, well, where was Kavanaugh during all this? Where was he at? Maybe he was passed out. So this blockbuster, folks. This is the blockbuster. The new allegation against Kavanaugh. This is an except it's not actually new. It was shopped to the Senate Democrats at the time, and they apparently found it impossible to nail down. So they ignored it. So I remember that they got a lot of things against Kavanaugh, and they decided to go with the Ballsy Ford narrative. That didn't work for them. So now they're back around for round 2 with some old news.
Boat.
And the same senators who found the rape boat allegations plausible. So neither do Kelly
it's all plausible.
and Probabin nail it down. They not only does the alleged victim not confirm the story, she is reported to be denying it. So
do you see, you guys? Do you see what's happening here? They're going.
Oh no, you're going to go with it, lady. You know, it's like they're
such
pushing it.
fallacious,
No, I don't
arguments.
recount.
You're going to say it was shoved in your hand and it was almost an assaulting manner. It's like, this is so preposterous and it's so out there that if you can't see for what it truly is, it's crazy. Hell, even Trump tweeted to Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, maybe you should start suing these people because you guys, this is called defamation of character. If we hear about it, that means somebody publicly defamed his character. Now you think, oh, well, so what? He called him, you're stupid. I'm not stupid. I promise, I'm not stupid. No. It's when you're in a court of law, and you know, I've been through this personally, and somebody publicly, officially accuses you of something, that is a public defamation of character. If it's one unfounded and completely fallacious, just like, I mean, come on now. His friend shoved it in her hand like it was like, you know, well, sometimes, I don't know, like a dog in his tail. Well, I don't know what it does. Sometimes it wags. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. I mean, they're making this guy out to be a complete idiot, like a bumbling idiot. I don't know. Penis just go here and there, you know. Sometimes I trip and fall, gets in people's hands.
Yeah, I just trip and it lands, or people push me and it landed in her. I mean, it just don't sound quite right. All right, pull up some of your guys' messages here to. Sounds like Kavanaugh. What just jumped on me. You guys are smiling when you talk about, I don't know.
Ballsy. What are you talking about? It's hilarious. You can't help it. Some of this stuff is like so out there, it's not even believable.
Yeah, if I found these things to be true, and at the time when they first came out, here it is all this time later, I do not believe it.
That's funny. Biden's dentures falling out when he's lying.
That's funny.
They're trying to run away from his lies too. I mean, we've already got, man. Oh, Don Skywatch. Whenever I am down, I'll watch Biden's denture fall out and feel much better. Oh, I'm telling you guys, that's going to be a Patriot Hour classic right there. That's going to be one of them little cut classics. Oh, yeah, they're trying to get Kavanaugh out because they know POTUS is going to get another Supreme Court judge when RGB is gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
You know it.
That's what I'm talking about. Living in America.
Living in America.
see all the ones we got there. Was that the rest of them?
Me living.
I'm gonna see. This is funny. I'll do this here. Look at it though. Amy Marcia says Kavanaugh and his runaway penis. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hey, Jeffrey Fowler, 95% of every event in the last 70 years has been incident or done by our own government. Oh, yes, 100%, man, 100%. We say that all the time. Mark DeSoto, Biden needs some fix-a-dent for his choppers. Hopefully those American choppers.
Little polygrip, baby.
I think he's using a competition made in China. I mean, maybe he needs who knows? He needs to get some of that American made, fix a dent. Oh, yeah, what else we got here? Was not attached. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that is so hilarious. I agree, Mary, Lindsay. I think his BS accuser needs to go as well. I mean, this is the fact that these people are even getting like airtime on these crazy accusations is still mind-boggling in my eye. Talk about conflict of interest. I mean, the judge should look at this stuff and be like, okay, you guys, come on now. No, I'm not going to preside over an assault penis case where the man wasn't involved.
His wanker fell off and everyone passed it around like a doobie.
Like it was like, hey, yeah, there you go. Don Skywalker. Yeah, Skywatcher. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, it's like, so what? Now the man, does his penis get jail time? Is there going to be some like community service he's got to do? I mean, think about it.
Because they didn't mention pushing him around. Where friends pushed his penis into the hand of a female student. Coming to a theater this summer.
I wonder what nonprofit organization in Washington Mr. Steyer runs. I mean, you think about all these people who are coming with this seem to be connected to foundations or organizations that have to do with things that aren't so on the up and up, I mean, like take for instance, you have the Clinton Foundation. We can go on and on about that, about the evil that they've done. Now, Mike and I and the Patriot Hour team, in August in 2020, we're going to have a flag retirement ceremony and a Patriot Festival. It's going to be awesome. And we're going to be helping Steps for Vets. That's another organization. It's a fund that we do for veterans. You can use these tools for evil, or you can use them for good. When they're used for evil, it's all in your face. When they're used for good, it's like, well, that's all in your face as well. So it really delves into the fact that, do you want to hear the truth, or are you comfortable with the lies you've been spoon-fed so you can go on with your life?
All right, folks. Here in a minute or two, I'm going to play some new drone footage of Epstein Island. And does it unveil to us, are we seeing here underground layer that we've heard about, that we think we know about? I mean, I've never been there.
Call it that.
I don't think Ben's ever been there.
I've never been there, sir. No, sir.
So we don't truly know. This is what we've heard, and lots of evidence point to that to be true. So this is just another stack on piece of evidence that we can possibly say points to this being true. So we need to watch this. We could just talk over it here.
Oh yeah, Patty Blythe. That's funny. I'm already seeing underground entrances. Boom, 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 boom. Those things are stacked right up on the hill. I mean, that's Look at all those underground. Look at this. That's all ventilation. Look at that
Yeah.
air system. That's a crazy air system. That's
Look at
not
that.
for something small. Boom. Got the. I mean,
John Deere.
he's got what? So this is other. So
Got a
so
boom
repair
lift I saw
yard.
too. Little.
And that just goes right in the back. I mean, it's like, look at those facilities. You know, they got their own gas station there. You got all these little areas. How's it look now? What are these rooms? Is this, you know, that's in direct? I see a pool ladder there. Is there something
There's a
inside
jungle
there?
Go on in. Wow.
That ain't no joke.
We've covered
folks.
those like a month ago. I remember in a video.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see what's going to be happening here. Now, who knows what's inside this thing? But it's all these buildings. They only have the three sides facing out. The other one, ooh,
It's kind
the other
of
one's all
sketchy to
up
go in
against.
there because somebody could shut it right when you go in, and then you're trapped.
Well, and you also could most likely lose signal as well. But look at that. What is that? All those boxes. That's crazy. More locked rooms. That you.
Getting some light, direct light into the feed.
Well, they're also changing the aperture so they can see the darkness on the inside. Everything's got locks on it. I mean, so it looks like most of the rooms have a little entry foyer area or something. I mean, who knows what those? I mean, boxes and boxes of something. What is? I mean, that doesn't.
Generator sitting there, or
Looks like that's a pump. Yep,
Pump,
that's a
yeah,
natural
the
gas
submer-
powered
yeah.
water pump. Yep. So, and look at those boxes. What I mean, that's something as what's in those things. You know what I'm saying? Are those supplies? Are those is that rations? Food?
so look at that front
I mean,
fascia, that whole.
the artistic. Yeah, if you were on the sea, it looked like that thing would look like some. I don't know, some Greek-looking stuff on the it's like the facade. Man, what is that they got there? Obviously, the wheelbarrow. I mean, that door's locked. They're all locked. So it looks like the little front part has a bunch of rooms on it, but there's always the door, at least in the back of this one. Little shop vacs. I mean, yeah, okay, you got some building stuff. What does that look like? You know, maybe some top AC something. I don't know. They're trying to get those boxes. That's for sure. That's just crazy. And I don't know if they're trying to get the trash can, what the trash can says, but man, all those nice little boxes somewhere is crazy.
It goes right into the side of the mountain, though, like
That right there, right inside the island. That is, that is not that you can see that they took off a big chunk of that island on the face of it to get those buildings smashed up in there. And look, it goes probably all through that island, and I bet you it culminates at the temple. Look at that. Boom. Now that little place right there with a raised mound. That's it. It almost seems like an arena, like an old, like they wanted to emulate an ancient arena for something. And of course, what happens at a temple, folks? So I bet you this whole entire island is just spider webbed with look at this big sundial. Well, we know the time of day that this was approximately taken. Man, look at that. That's crazy. Now, of course, they worship the sun. So, of course, a nice little sundial. It's probably about 5 or so in the afternoon. You can see it. It told us there. And now, or 5 in the morning, I would probably say. Man, look at that. So all those buildings. Well, this must have been his little, his little area. See that little covered building, those little buildings. Now you see right there, it was all nice, ready to go on the shoreline. Is that where So it's
So
almost
Rusty
6 o'clock.
Shackelford again, or what? Oh, Rusty. So ever since Jeffrey Epstein made the national headlines for pedophilia in 2008, the disgraced financier's lifestyle has been under a microscope following his June 6 arrest on federal charges of sex trafficking of minors, folks. However, particularly attention has been paid to his Caribbean island, Little St. James. That's what we're looking at here right now, also known as Pedo Island, where Epstein allegedly kept a harem of underage sex slave to serve at his pleasure of him and his rich and elite famous visitors and friends.
Now you see all those doors have like almost storm doors. You close the metal doors and those almost garage doors go over the doors. You see that? This is talking like, well, it's for the hurricane and stuff like that. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. But you're talking, these facilities are highly secure facilities for being an island. Why do you need locks on all the doors? Like, well, he had friends over and it was this, and yeah, it's just crazy.
Let me see here. We'll take a look at this here real quick.
At any point in time, you can have a little boat come up in there. Oh, little dock. I mean,
So this is another section of the island here, folks.
and you can see a little box, little pillbox style bunker looking thing right there. Another little air let out possible source. Little entryway into the this backside, and it's set perfectly where the hill's at. The lowest spot. Dig in there. Look at that. Nice little door to get in there. I mean, that definitely goes into a place inside the side of that hill. There's no question.
So we have no idea what's behind these mysterious doors on Epstein Island.
Yes.
But he was accused of running a sex trafficking operation. We do know that to be true. And there are doors leading into what appears to be an underground facility right here. Whether they lead to an elaborate underground lair or just a simple, ultra-secure broom closets is anyone's guess. But I doubt that is just a broom closet.
That is not a grounds supply closet.
That's
that
a hurricane evacuation.
Yes, it's not plausible.
Oh, this is sad.
And to get everybody from the island, those are some small doors for an actual emergency situation.
Oh yeah. So these
You see how
strange tubes and stuff
it's
emerging.
not, it's not really painted like, hey, this is an emergency exit. Hey,
Look at
you
that.
have a little cabana with another little pop out. Is this? I mean, look at this. Here's another pop out right next to the cabana. And that doesn't scream like an emergency exit where it says, hey, this is where they go. It's all painted the same color, green. Try to blend it into foliage. That's reinforced concrete, people. That's not just a little shed there for tools and supplies.
Where did they put all the dirt? If they did this whole...
You can always throw it in the ocean. It'll wash away. Except for the big boulders. And it goes probably used to build up foundations and stuff. There's one. You can see all them boulders right there.
Yeah.
A little swimming pool area.
So that's what we're keeping an eye out for. Where did all this dirt go? So here's the boulders, and I got an idea. Got a good idea where they put all the dirt. And I'll show you right here.
There you go. That little arena. That's probably one of the dirt, or where's... That whole building on the left-hand side there is kind of crazy. Don't know what that is. I mean, they've probably terraformed that whole entire island. I mean, they've taken dirt, moved it up.
There's rocks.
I mean, you can see they've gouged out half that, all that in there. The landing pad. So definitely there's some dirt they used, you'd think, to make that crazy
All the way
arena
around.
looking
That's
thing.
bigger than what you think, folks.
That's a lot. That's a
If
lot
you
of dirt,
can-
you know. There's that. You see all those rocks. I mean, you know,
Here's
you know,
a
you
bigger
had, you know,
view coming in. There it is. Now you can kind of look at the tree sizes.
yes. So that mound goes up a good 10, 15 feet, you know. If it can put a whole entire cement truck underneath there and you can't see it, you know, what a great place for all the dirt. Make yourself a little arena and look at all the big giant stones. That's all on the cobbleway. It's all on the, you know, they didn't import those stones that you see all there along the walkway and all the stone. That's just, yeah, that's, you know, I mean, you got those kind of equipment, you know, a lot of that you can see they've broken that down and they've kind of made a little area out there. And there's been a lot of transformation on this island.
Showing you guys a little mixture of both there.
Remember, there was no roads here. This was a raw island, you know?
So new Epstein Island footage here, folks. We just looked into a room. Does it lead to the deep underground? I mean, where would that go?
It definitely goes in the side of that hill. I mean, there's no disputing
Looks like
that.
you can almost see the top of it covered with this dirt and rock to make it kind of look
and
shabbish.
it's all green to make it look kind of in there. Yeah, lots of scraps and scrapes there, so you know it's been heavily used.
Yes.
Lots of scratches and scrapes. I mean, it looks like some ones that are, you can see there's a normal wear patterns where people open and close and open and close. Are they, you know, what makes long scrapes like that? You know, are they putting stuff in there, pulling people out? Who knows? Look at some of those huge rocks they've moved. You can see as like the road splits and then all the rocks that line it. So you could see that, you know, as they're taking this material, they're trying to not, well, here's your trash pile. I wonder what this is here. So this would be all your trash that you'd have to burn.
Isla Epstein. Bobcat tractor scrapping, he put.
See, for even that little complex, looks like there's archways, but we just saw up real close. We know it's a flat facade. See out there? It looks like the archways that were painted on that little facility from a distance. Looks like there's arches, and it's kind of fun and fancy from the mainland. Oh, so this is showing where people's actually moving on there. Okay. And you'll notice now, people, the big dome is gone. All the effigies are gone out of there. That temple is no longer looking like a temple. That's crazy, folks. That's crazy.
Yes, it is. Whoops.
So just to see that, you know, from the first shots we saw of Epstein Island, when it had the golden dome on top of the temple, it had all the crazy statues that would wrap on the ceiling of the temple.
Now that
It still
golden
shows
dome got blown off in 2015 or 2016. It was damaged or something. In one of the articles was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Well, they had the hurricanes
so like,
there or whatever. The first ones
had
that came through right after I had just been there. So I'm going to say that was like 2017, 2016.
You can still, yeah, that's right. Darren Carson, his tiles still spell the word pedo.
I see that. Yeah, I've never heard that, and I saw it myself. Then started kind of looking into it, and some people claim, and if not, it's close enough. if my mind went to it,
I mean, it's the Greek and the Greek letter. The hell, it's all because it's all supposed to be a Greek style or a Turkish.
If I haven't been told nothing, and I just go to look at some symbol, and I see something that pops out at me, and then I have to and somebody else has got to tell me, no, it looks like it, and it's like, okay, well, that's good enough. I don't need.
That's good enough to me. Yeah. If I get that weird vibe, then I'm gonna call it.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what he is, and then that's what you almost see there. It's got to be something.
Hey, wasn't symbology would be their downfall? I mean,
yes.
that's PEDO. Well, it doesn't. It's not really an E. It's like, oh, okay, it's a stylized E, and the D, whatever. It's like, okay. Anybody who's in the know is like, oh yeah. You mean the pedo temple? Ah ha 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 ha. Great choice in tiles there, Jeffrey.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at about an hour and a half. We'll probably shut this one down. It was a great morning. Any final words or anything that we've gone over here, Ben, for the old people?
Just, try to eat the truth and spit out the lies and protect your family. Shop local, hold your friends close, your family tighter. I mean, it's what we've gone over today is just basically a matter of conflict of interest, propaganda. I mean, it's all around in there. Don't believe what we say to be true. Connect your own dots. If we say something that sparks you to go out and do your own investigation, that's a win in our book for sure, man. We love you guys, and we definitely enjoy doing these morning shows for sure. It's been a little more peppy for sure.
Yes. All right, there you have it, folks. That was Ben. We definitely enjoy our mornings lately with doing this. This is what we're going to try to do most of every morning. If there's anything else that we have going on that requires something, we might not be able to make it, like one of us are sick or whatnot. So look for another show here a little bit later today, probably definitely with Woodman. If he's we had talked yesterday about doing something later today for a little bit, so that might be coming up, and just videos in general on the old Patriot Hour. So again, I'm Mike. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless. Godspeed each and every one of you. Hit a thumbs up on your way out. It helps let YouTube know that you guys are here watching. You're not bots. You're actually real patriots. All right, we'll see you back here on the next Patriot Hour update video coming real soon.